All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our weekly show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping, and this is where we review one of the top racing cars from around the United States. We will select a four-race sequence from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a pick four ticket. Thank you for joining us, and we are headed to Pennsylvania today, where we'll be playing the early all-stakes pick four from Penn National Racetrack in Grantville, Pennsylvania, which, from what I understand, is about 10 miles outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania, which means that Joe and Ray would have to keep me away from the chocolate to get me to the track. That's the only thing I like about horse racing. All right, it starts with race number one, and that pick four finishes with race number four, which is the Penn Mile. My name is Rich Sharp, and each week I'll be joined by my friends and racing analysts. All right, after we crashed and burned last week during Santa Anita's pick four, nobody's happier to go back to the East Coast than our first analyst who checks in from Staten Island, New York. Ray Torado, how you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I've been to Penn National once. It was nice. Actually twice, and Hershey Park is wonderful. So, yep, everything's good here.
All right. And from Temecula, California, I thought about trying to talk him into it again by going with the whole Hollywood casino, but I used that on Charlestown, so I knew I wouldn't be able to talk Joe into it. And let's face it, he knows we're not going back to Inglewood until the Rams come back. But Joe English is with us from Temecula, California.
Good evening, Rich. Thanks. How you doing?
Yeah. We're trying to figure out the same question as every other handicapper in America this week, which is, where do you go in between the Preakness and the Belmont? And the Three Broke Guys had several suggestions that were out there, and we ended up settling on what appears to be a rather chalky pick four over there at Penn National. So, as I said earlier, my name is Rich Sharp, and I'd like to thank Joe and Ray both, as well as anyone who's watching tonight, for accommodating my schedule, because it's me who has the rare Friday night wedding in Malibu that is preventing me from doing our show at our regularly scheduled day and time. For those of you who've been watching our show, and by the way, this is the 3-month anniversary of the Three Broke Guys. We've been doing this for 3 months now.
Wow.
Where's the cake?
You know that we do this show through anything, and I actually broadcasted one of these episodes from a hotel room in Las Vegas, so you know my wife really would have killed me if I had abandoned her for this wedding. So. And as you might notice, if you're looking in the video screen there, all Three Broke Guys are wearing orange tonight in honor of National Gun Violence Awareness Day. So thank you, Mr. Torado, for the suggestion. But everybody looks wonderful there.
No,
it's Joe.
Yeah.
Is it Joe?
Yeah, no worries.
I apologize. I thought it was Ray. Thank you, Joe.
No worries, fellas. I honestly found out this morning while watching Spanish TV, believe it or not.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't see it anywhere on broadcast TV. I was actually flipping the channels and watched Spanish TV and saw that they were all wearing orange, and I said, okay, I wonder what that's for, because I speak a little bit, I understand a little bit, but I went online and saw it, and I was like, I think this is a cause we could all get behind. So I decided to send these guys an email, and it's a really worthy cause, especially after what happened at UCLA yesterday and the rash of violence that we've been experiencing throughout the country. So I just hope that more people decide to not have guns, but that's a Second Amendment issue that I don't want to get into right now. I'd rather stick to handicapping. I think that's a little easier, actually.
That's actually a little easier. All right, well said, Joe, and thank you very much for the suggestion. So we're going to turn to, and for me, guys, this is actually a brand new racetrack. You've seen my huge file on my computer. I could not find anything for Penn National in Grantville, Pennsylvania. It looks like a beautiful racetrack, and I'm happy to hear that Ray's actually been there and seen Hershey, Pennsylvania as well. So this is the Penn Card Mile, and we're going to take a quick look at their local weather. I was watching Penn National today. The track looked dry today. Saturday, the forecast is for 85 degrees, partly cloudy, and just a 10% chance of rain. However, it is the East Coast. I think it's important to note that there's a 70% chance of rain on Friday and a 100% chance of rain on Sunday. So if those weather forecasters are off in their prediction by just a little bit, you know how this could be. So keep your eyes on those cards, because there are a couple of turf races right up front there at Penn National. We have a total of 9 races, including 4 stakes races on tap for Saturday. For tonight, we are focused on the pick 4, beginning in race number 1 with the Penn Oaks, and it concludes with the Penn Mile in race number 4. Gentlemen, our gates are locked and loaded. Shall we get started?
Let's go.
Go for it.
Let's do it. Race number 1, the Penn Oaks. It's for 3-year-old fillies only. 1 mile on the turf. The purse is $200,000, 7 starters, and your morning line favorite, Priced to Perfection at 9 to 5, is in post position number 4 for trainer Chad Brown. Joel Rosario aboard for the ride today. Joe, the best 3-year-old filly in the country is based on the West Coast. How would this crowd fare against Songbird?
Well, I don't know how Songbird would actually run on the turf. I'd have to check her breeding to see a little bit more about it. And actually the best 3-year-old filly on the turf that we know of is actually running in one of the later races in this pick 4. I'm sure we'll get to her in a little bit. I actually went with a little bit of an outsider in this race. I think Outsider Art is 6-1 on the morning line. I think she's going to come back to a better race. She ran okay in her 3-year-old debut. Did not run well last time out at Churchill Downs, but I think the bounce and the bad race may lead to something better today, and she'll be a little bit more of a price. She switches from Drayden Van Dyke, who we like as a jockey, we have nothing against, but to a vet like Joe Bravo, who's been and seen just about everything. In that last race, she was up close to a fast pace, and maybe that's not where they wanted her to be. Maybe that's where they want her to be, and it was just too fast. I think she's going to get a little bit more comfortable of a trip today, and she's going to get first run. If she's not on the lead, she's going to get first run on the closers, and hopefully maybe she can hang on. My second choice would be Priced to Perfection. She's the obvious favorite. Second time off the layoff, and her speed figures have improved in each of her second starts after any kind of freshening. She gets back to Joel Rosario. As Rich mentioned, Chad Brown's a trainer. You can't argue with his success rate. And he's the only graded winner. She's the only graded winner in the field. So basically, I got this narrowed down to a 2-horse race. My top choice by a whisker will be Outsider Art, probably because of the price and because she'll get first run. And obviously Priced to Perfection will be a tough customer if she can get clear down the lane. So basically I have a 2-horse field. Since we don't know, I don't have actually program numbers yet. It's a little bit early for that. We haven't seen a program yet. But like I said, just by name, Outsider Art and Priced to Perfection in order would be my choices in the Penn Oaks. Ray, do you have anything constructive that you can add to my brilliant analysis?
Yes, actually.
Or non-constructive, heck, we'll take anything.
It's a pretty good race. It's field of 7. I'm gonna use number 2, Conquest Serenade. Actually, more like 9 or 2. Trying the turf for the first time for Mark Cassie. 2 for 3, only lost to Black Eyed Susan, the winner. Go Maggie Go. Has no speed to get a good trip for Florent Giroux. So she should be well, something they're trying. So if she likes the turf, she might run very well. Also, you're gonna use number 5, Sweet Victory, who's 5-2 morning line for Top Puncher Barn with Javier Castellano, and those two are pretty potent combination, like 30%. She's the winner of the Honey Fox at Gulfstream, proved on the turf and distance. Also gonna use Your Horse Joe, number 3, Outsider Art, who I like. Has some eventful trips and ran well for the first time 2 back with Lasix and at the mile distance. And so, of course, like you said, switched to a more precise jockey in Joe Bravo, he rides very well on the turf. As you guys know, Little Mike a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
He stole races.
Mm-hmm.
As a B pick, I'll throw in the 4, Price to Perfection. She has a grade 3 win for Chad Brown, Joe Rosario. Strong closing kick. Depends how far back she'll be. Pace dependent because you don't know these closes. And the only bad race has been on a soft turf. So if it comes up soft, I would probably just throw her out. That's my analysis. Rich, what do you guys say about the Penn Oaks?
All right, let me see if I can remember to stop presenting here because I keep getting the feedback on that one. I'll bring my face back up here for you. Okay. So I ended up very close to what the two of you guys had. My top pick, I ended up being back to my chalk-eating weasel self, unfortunately, and I could not toss the favorite, which is by Chad Brown, Priced to Perfection. Chad Brown, Joe Rosario, I circled it, or I was lining it up on the screen there for the audience to see. They hit at 40% together, so they're 2 for 5 at this point in time. Chad Brown's 25% with his shippers. And as Joe mentioned, this is the greatest stakes winner that's in this race. Highest speed rating. There's just so much to like that you could just go on and on about Price to Perfection. I would have recommended singling her, if not for something that Ray caught on to, which is I'm just not so sure about what we're going to see from Conquest Serenade so far. She could be 3 for 3 if not for the fact that Go Maggie Go, who won the Black Eyed Susan in her last race, was in her maiden race when she debuted. So she's 2 for 2, draws Florent Giroux and Mark Casse. I like the combination of Rosario and Chad Brown because they're 40% together. And if I could bring my screen back up here, I'd show you that Casse and Florent Giroux are like, we're 50% together. And that's on 10, so they're 5 for 10 together. And so those are my top two. I just went with the 4 and the 2. I did like a little bit on the outside the third one from that kind of unheralded barn over there on the East Coast. I believe his last name is pronounced Fletcher, and he uses that Castellano rider a lot. So I did like Sweet Victory a little bit. And Joe, on that angle that you and I have been discussing and things like that, this might be the horse to bet. But I would leave Sweet Victory off of my pick 4 ticket and just go with 4-2 and leave the 5 out, and then tell everybody you better bet the 5 heavy.
Put the ring around the 5.
The ring around the 5. Okay. So we'll see how that works out on. And for those of you who are wondering, and I apologize that I did not do it. We didn't do a recap show this week. I got my calendar got off by 1 day because of that 3-day holiday weekend, and Joe English was over at my house on Memorial Day, so I can blame him as well. Him and his family.
That's my fault.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the recap show on its normal day that I would do the recording. And as a matter of fact, we bombed out of it so badly
we
that
got smashed. So that's the recap.
Yeah,
we went down TKO. That's the recap.
Yeah, we're not.
If anybody remembers that video game Knockout, you remember Glass Joe? That's what we felt like that day. Glass Joe. He was about the easiest fighter to knock out. I think he was the first fighter in the fight. I can't remember the name.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, he was real easy. That's what we were like last week.
And I was saying, what if that Speed Horse beat us? And Speed Horse is the first race to beat us. I said it the next day, and oh boy.
Yippee!
So we've got some interesting opinions working there in race number 1. We're not completely on the chalk. So, ready for race number 2?
Yep.
And interesting, race number 2 and the pick 4 really is race number 2. It's just race 2. So, the Pennsylvania Governor's Cup Stakes. These are 3-year-olds and upwards. Purse $150,000, going 5 furlongs on the grass. 9 starters, including the coupled entry in post number 1, and the morning line favorite is a bit of a celebrity on these East Coast tracks. 32-time winner Ben's Cat for King Leatherberry is listed at 8-5 on the morning line and is drawn comfortably in post number 5. Ray, I know you were in Baltimore for the Preakness, and Ben's Cat is a legend in Maryland racing.
Oh, yes.
Tell me you are not going to disappoint your crab-eating peeps and pick against their hero today. It's you.
Well, I'm gonna try and make some money here. I'm gonna go against Ben's Cat. I would definitely recommend to include him, but I'm gonna take a shot here using the number 5 pool winner. This is our old 3BG angle.
Mm-hmm.
Break it for the middle. Show lots of early pace. Last summer, Monmouth, Pimlico, 9 winners of allowance of 1. 9 for 12 in the exactas, and a big switch to Rosario here. So 5 furlongs. Rosario gets him out pretty well, so he's a good gate jockey too. Of course, how could I not include Ben's Cat? Ben's Cat is a 10-year-old warhorse. I mean, like you said, 32 for 53. I mean, I got a chance to see this horse, a Maryland legend, win the last race, the Jim McKay Turf Sprint, and I tell you, after the race, I heard the biggest cheer of the day. I mean, people were clapping. I mean, it was like, forget about it. It looked like it's one of those pageant shows. He's coming down to the winner's circle. So it was nice to feel that. He was actually second here last year, so he has a affinity to like the course. That's the only chunk to use. Well, actually, as a B pick, I'll use number 2, Spring to the Sky, morning line 3-1. A strong second in the 2016 debut to Ben's Cat on that same race. Actually, he's a big price that day. Seems to be a need to lead type, so there's a lot of speed here, so he may not get what he wants. So that's why he had dropped him down to a B pick. So that's my analysis on this sprint 5 furlongs. So it's gonna be a speed duel. Joe, we gotta say about this one.
I don't have a lot to add. I went with Ben's Cat on top, 2 for with the new jock Trevor McCarthy, and obviously he's going to stay here. He's going to switch off Pool Winner, which prompted the switch to Rosario for Pool Winner. I'm assuming, and I'm assuming the only way you're going to beat Ben's Cat is that you got to get in front of him, and Pool Winner will at least be in front of him. You got to be in front of him and hope that he gets in trouble behind because he's going to come from behind. I don't expect that to happen, but that's probably the only way you're going to beat Ben's Cat today. And there is one other concern I have about Ben's Cat. He is 32 for 55, but he is only 1 for 4 at Penn National. Maybe it's just the timing of the races. Maybe we would actually have to look deeper into his PPs to know why he was only 1 of 4, 3 of 4 in the money, but only 1 of 4 on the win end. And he is coming back in about 2 weeks. For a 10-year-old, I understand he's a gelding, and that's all he's really needs to do is race. But I wonder if that may have some effect on him today. But other than that, Ray, I can't add to anything that you said. Ben's Cat would be my top choice. You have to include him. And Pool Winner would be my second choice underneath. Rich, do you have anything to add?
And again, let me see if I can get my screen off so you guys can see me as I talk here. Again, I actually thought about contacting my friend Jenny and having her, she's the one who made us for Lulu's Baby Stop. She's the one who made me the California Chrome doll that I have that's up here. And I thought about having her make me into a little weasel, and then we could just feed him chalk every week. I told you we'll have the Bob Baffert when we make mistakes that are just kind of dumb. And then when I have weeks like this where I end up with Ben's Cat and I end up with Price to Perfection as my top 2 picks in the first 2 weeks, I can just feed the weasel a chalk the whole show. That's what I feel like. I did put Ben's Cat as my top pick, so I've got the 6 as my top pick. My second pick was, believe it or not, I went to this. I like the 9, Cyclogenesis. I'm looking for somebody new or somebody, the scary new face, I guess. He was somebody last year. He looked like he was going to be somebody interesting on the turf as a turf sprinter. They made that rather interesting move that you see with some Yankees that decided to go over and try Ascot. He tried the Commonwealth Gold Cup, finished 14th in a field of 18, and was never the same again once he came back. So the last time we saw him, he was in the Nearctic, which is supposed to be that last prep race for the turf sprint going into the Breeders' Cup, and then we never saw him again. He never came back for the Breeders' Cup. And just took the summer off. Weaver is just 12% on 90 days away. He's 14% with shippers. But if you like the fact of what this guy did, winning his first 3 races and looked good last year, then possibly this could be the guy who could upset a Ben's Cat. I really don't think so.
Yeah, Weaver is making some long shots for him.
Yeah, I looked at him briefly, and I saw the trip to Ascot. And generally, you could see him pop first time out off the layoff, but I'm still thinking obviously we all think you got to go through Ben's Cat to win this race. But we'll see. We'll see.
The knock on Ben's Cat that I had, and initially I was going against him. I was using it as a play against, was exactly what you had caught him to. The 1 for 4 at Penn, he's actually 0 for his last 2. So it's the last 2 tries that he's tried at Penn. Again, I haven't watched any kind of replays, and I, like you said, I probably won't get that deep into it to watch replays for this. So, but I did notice that, a horse who's 32 for 55. So this is somebody who's a 58, 60% winner in his lifetime. At this one track is only 25% winner, and ironically enough, was 0 for 2. He missed by a head or a neck last year to Amelia's Wild Ride. But again, I put him as my top pick. Again, I put the 9 in there as my second choice, but as you can see by my head movements and like that, I really don't have a whole lot of confidence in that 9 pick as far as taking it up. All right, are we ready for race number 3?
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. And I believe that is the Mountain View handicap. 3-year-old and upwards. The purse is $200,000, and they're going 9 furlongs or a mile and an eighth on the main track. Just 5 starters, and the morning line favorite at 8-5. Red Rifle is in post number 2, and again, it's for Todd Plitcher and written by Javier Castellano. Joe, you get the Mountain View, and you get tonight's trivia question. So, who was the Red Rifle?
The Red Rifle. Oh my God. NBA player. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. I want to say somebody named McMillan, but I don't know if that's really true or not. Maybe I'm just thinking
You
something different.
Phone a friend?
Yeah. The Red Rifle. Is it? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Now, isn't Andy Dalton?
There you go.
Cincinnati Bengals, the Red Rifle?
There you go, Red Rifle.
Okay.
Andy Dalton of the Bengals.
Okay. Okay. I'm thinking maybe I'm thinking the Rifleman like Chuck Connors, but that's before. I'm assuming before some people in our audience this time.
Well, Pistol Pete.
Anyway, back to horse racing. After that brief interlude, I'm actually I would single here, and I wouldn't single the favorite. I have my reservations about Red Rifle. He's been running long on the turf, really long on the turf in his most recent starts, and I'm not sure that's going to equate here. He's going to need to show a little bit more speed because there does not look like a lot of pace in this race. The one charitable annuity will probably be on or near the lead, but my choice is a former Three Broke Guys Angle winner at 20-1 on Louisiana Derby Day, if I remember right, and that would be I think, is it number 3 or number 4, Smovelus. I think he's going to get a great trip sitting outside that speed horse, who may or may not last, but we'll see. I think Smovelus is a little bit more tested at this level. Switches to Florent Giroux. He should get a wonderful trip, and he's had some time to recover since the last race at Charlestown, which was not disgraceful considering that Stanford and Paige McKinney ran 1-2 around the track in a merry-go-round. So he didn't run badly that day. Like I said, he's had some time to recover. Mike Maker and Florent Giroux, obviously Rich has the PPs up on the screen, showed 32% over the last 60 days, even with a slight profit. So I would think we only have to go one deep. Like I said, I have my reservations about Red Rifle, and if he's the favorite, I'm more than willing to take a stand against him. So I would just go one deep here. I would single. Ray, what do you have to add?
Well, I would use Red Rifle, number 2. He's the class of the race, running in grade 1s last year on the turf. Yeah, Pletcher doesn't go back to there with him. He does have 25% on that angle. He likes to go long, so the mile and eighth to suit him. I like to also use Top Billing, number 3. Adds blinkers for Shug McGahee. He's been plodding along and optional 9 runs of 2. Probably needs a meltdown of the speed, which may not happen because there's not much speed here. He was 4th in Pinnacle Special and a close 6th in Alashiba. I would also include, as a B pick, Smovelus, positive jockey change to Florent Giroux, and his likeness for 9 furlongs. So those would be my horses there. Which we gotta say about the Mountain View? Actually, I'm gonna say something about the Mountain View. That's a perfectly named race because I tell you, when you get there, in the background you see the Appalachians and other mountains. It's really nice too, pretty pretty. Not as much as your beautiful, the California mountains, but
it's not the San Gabriels, huh?
No, it's not. Nah.
Let's see here. So, okay, Joe kind of alluded to this. There were, in my opinion, there were 2 horses that kind of really led us to this Three Broke Guys angle that you hear a lot. As a matter of fact, it'll actually even show up on my racing forums now. You'll see this 3BGA shows up like that. So it's a Three Broke Guys angle. And what you can see down here is I kind of highlighted it for everybody that can see it. It's not going to show up on the forum anymore because So Marvelous no longer qualifies as a Three Broke Guys horse. Now that he's won the New Orleans Handicap, he's doing the Charlestown Classic. Well, everybody's going to know about him. But prior to the New Orleans Handicap, we actually were handicapping on the day of on this show. We handicapped the day of the New Orleans Handicap, And as you see here, he was coming off an optional claimer 35, an optional claimer 40 for non-winners of 2, an optional claimer 40 for non-winners of 2. He was leading up to it, and he was getting good. And sure enough, he skipped the non-graded stakes race. He skipped the G3 level and jumped right into G2 and won. And the other horse was Melatonin, who decided he was going to skip G2 as well and went right up and just won the G1.
G1.
And he said, I need a handicap. And after that, the 3 broke guys had a new angle. And so that's why you hear us talk about 3 broke guys, the 3 broke guys angle. I often see over here, if you use the Brisnet forms, what you will see is the term moves up in class. And that's about the best I can use to describe what the 3 broke guys angle. So Joe's already alluded to it. We've got one of our horses that's in here. Smarvelous was it. And Smarvelous was my top pick. Michael Maker, Florian Giroux, Joe alluded to you guys. That's a 32% combination for those two. I love Giroux on the turf anyway. Not much more to say on that horse. I don't know if I was willing to single him. My second pick was Red Rifle. So I did have him as my backup pick, but I liked Smarvelous much better on top. So
Rich, I thought this race was on dirt. I just want to clarify.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is the Mountain View on dirt?
Mountain View? I apologize. This is the one that's on
Okay, just want to make sure.
Okay. And 2, and...
Sometimes if you look on the screen in Penn National, it doesn't look like dirt. Who knows? It could be like sand or something.
It is. It's a very light colored dirt, and I couldn't tell the day that it was raining or the day before. It didn't get sloppy muddy either, and that they do a really good job with their track there. So, all right, Ray, did I have for you in that race? Did I have the 2 on top, and then the 3 is your second pick, and the 4 I believe is your B?
Yeah, 4, yeah.
Joe, you went with the
just Marvelous. Didn't need to go any deeper than that.
All right, so just the 4 on top for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and for me a 4 on 2. Okay. Ready for the Penn Mile.
Rocket.
Penn Mile Stakes. It's a grade 3 for 3-year-olds only. The purse is $500,000, and they're going 1 mile on the main track. 7 starters, and your morning line favorite in post number 4 is the classy filly, Catch a Glimpse. She's trained by Mark Cassey and ridden by Florian Giroux. She's a win machine, 6 for 7 lifetime, and she's trying the boys for the first time today. Ray, it won't even be noon in California by the time the early pick 4 is over. Should I book lunch at the steakhouse, or is it Subway sandwiches still? Am I still on that $6 menu?
Well, I'll probably say book the steaks because we're gonna be alive here. This is a nice post for 4th race of Penn National. I really wonder what's gonna happen after the 4th race, how the crowd will be. It might be a quick exit there because I see nothing after that. But yeah, I mean, come on, you got Catch a Glimpse, undefeated on the turf, and she's a great filly. Distances of a mile to mile and 16th, and she's faced the boys for the first time, and she should do well against them. I mean, she's has good speed, and going 2 turns here, she'll be able to rate and take care of them. As a backup, Beach Patrol, cutting back to a mile, has some good acceleration in the middle of the race to draw off the races back. First time, Chad Brown clicks at 30%. Rosario rides it for first time. I'm sure he was told to keep him somewhat closer to pace. Don't let Catch a Glimpse get too far behind him. And so I think it's probably a 2-horse race. Beach Patrol, Catch a Glimpse. Who gets depends probably on the first half how this race is gonna go. If she gets a nice breather, see ya. As a B pick, I like Unbridled Daddy, number 8, facing much better here. Best race is 2 back, going a mile. Punch Castellano, always dangerous in the big races. You never know, the race might fall apart and might come on the outside, the inside, wherever, and catch them. So those are my horses for the Penn Mile. Race 5 will be scrambling. All right, Joe, we gotta say the Penn Mile.
Well, actually, Ray, I'm going to be what's the word I'm looking for? The contrarian of the field. I'm actually going with Beach Patrol, and I'm actually, if I was going to play a pick four, I'd be singling Beach Patrol. And the reason I'm going to do that is that I've heard through the grapevine that a couple of the guys from the a couple of clients of Thoroughgraph have actually purchased this horse, which is why the switch was made from Phil D'Amato, who you can't really improve much upon, to Chad Brown. I actually, because I found out that this sale happened, I found this James Cavello is on Twitter, so I've actually decided to follow him. And after I heard, I'm not sure who, somebody must have retweeted, maybe Thoroughgraph retweeted it, but they bought this horse after the American Turf. And again, you can't. I'm not saying you're going to improve going from Phil D'Amato to anybody, but Chad Brown is somebody you could possibly do it with, especially outside of California. He was solid second on Derby Day to a horse that we didn't have that knocked us out of the pick four that day. I guess I really shouldn't have brought that up.
Thanks.
Actually, yeah, I'm sorry, but I actually think he may actually be third choice in this race, behind Catch a Glimpse, who's the morning line favorite, and maybe Aeroforce. I'm not sure if people are just going to summarily dismiss Aeroforce. I think it's going to be close between Aeroforce and Beach Patrol, who's going to be second choice. But based on that angle, and based on the fact that Beach Patrol can do either lead if need be, or he can sit off the lead if he needs to. I think he's got more tactical options. I'm not sure. I think Catch a Glimpse wants to be close to the lead, doesn't necessarily need to be on the lead, but I just have a feeling that they bought Beach Patrol for this race, for this spot, and that's what I'm using as the angle to try and beat Catch a Glimpse. You can't argue with what she's done, and Florent Giroux and Mark Casse, as we've alluded to earlier on the day, are a lethal combination. So I would assume, I mean, if we're definitely going to use both. But if I had to do it myself, I would just single Beach Patrol, hope for a little bit of value, because if we end up with four chalky results, I mean, unless we hit the button 5 or 6 times, it's not going to be worth it for me. So I would single Beach Patrol just on the one angle myself. Rich, what could you possibly say to top that?
I wasn't presenting to everyone. I apologize there. I was showing to you guys a little button for presenting to everyone was still lit up for me, so you didn't get to see the information that we were looking at there. Yeah, Beach Patrol was a real strong angle for me as well. I was more than a little surprised when I saw that that he had been transferred, had been taken away from Phil D'Amato, who again is only hitting 23% so far in 2016. I guess you could look at it the other way. I guess since Phil D'Amato's losing 77% of his races. But Chad Brown is one of the few that you could justify taking the horse away and moving him back to the East Coast. I was not aware of the information that Joe just brought to the table, but I did have Beach Patrol as my top pick. But I had it like kind of an A minus, or I just couldn't toss Catch a Glimpse. 6 for 7 lifetime, and Casse and all the stats that we were talking about earlier. So I just had those two, 3, 4. And again, if I had room on my ticket like that, or if I thought the Aeroforce, but I think Beach Patrol's got Aeroforce covered. I thought he did run fabulously on Churchill Downs Day, but
we just happened to get beat that day.
I'm sorry. I just for those of you who might see my face, I just heard a door close, and it's one of those ones where it's like, okay, my wife's out of town, my son's out of town, the youngest son's the only one that's here. It's like, you really don't want to hear doors. Alrighty. So, Joe, I've got you with a single with Beach Patrol. Ray, I've got you with Catch a Glimpse on top, Beach Patrol underneath, and the 7 as a B pick. And myself, I've got the 3 and the 4, so I put those two together. Are we ready to go ahead and move on over to our? We'll go ahead and bring up the template for our pick 4.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Let me get my screen share going.
Oh, Ray, while Rich is doing that, we have to talk off the air. I wanted to talk to you about what we discussed last Friday off the air.
Okay.
Just stay on when we're done. Yes, guys, we do actually talk both before and after the show, just to make sure we have everything we have covered,
Before,
and
after,
and
between,
and and we review each
during
other's
the
performance.
races.
We tell each other how much we suck and blah blah blah.
There's a lot of that goes on.
Yeah.
All right.
And by the way, just so that everybody's clear, I know TVG has done plenty of advertising. First post for this card is actually 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So it will be actually late afternoon when this pick 4 kicks off out here. It'll be early evening where
Wow.
you are, Mr. Torado.
Yeah.
So since they generally run at night, I guess they wanted this a little closer to TVG's prime time. Maybe TVG had something to do with it.
Okay.
And
Most likely, yeah.
and obviously we might have done the pick 4 at Santa Anita had they not moved the two grade ones, the Shoemaker Mile and the Vanity Mile, to races 6 and 7, which are actually the first two races in the pick 6 on Saturday at Santa Anita, but they are outside of the late pick 4. Just to clarify to our audience as to why we didn't choose that way.
That's normally post time, usually Penn National, 6, 7, around that time.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, I know they were advertising it hard that it's 6 p.m. East, 3 Pacific.
Yeah. I actually thought about going out there, but my daughter's dance class is 5 o'clock, so.
Yeah, I don't think you've done enough traveling to racetracks. I don't think the missus would be treating you too kindly if you decided to go to Penn National and miss your daughter's dance class.
Oh no, I gotta drive it in, but it's coming out to the end. But it's only a 3-hour drive, but
3-hour drive. I can almost get to Vegas in 3 hours. And considering how hot it's going to be tomorrow here and in Vegas.
And Rich, I would stop at the chocolate store and load up with all the dark chocolate I could.
Oh, dark chocolate.
Come home with a bag full.
Oh my God, you're killing me. Dark chocolate. Ugh.
Nice and sweet.
Oh my God, it's bitter as all get out.
Huh?
Dark chocolate. Oh, to me it's bitter.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a white chocolate guy myself.
Okay.
It's the only, like I said, it's the only possible location that would give preference over the track, where you guys would look around and be like, where did Rich go? I'm like, oh no.
Well, you haven't seen me in Vegas, so there are plenty of places I'd go rather than the sports book to bet the ponies if I were in Vegas. But anyway, let's save that. Let's save the X and R-rated conversation for off the air.
All right, so let's see if we can make this ticket here. Let's see if we can get it down to something reasonable. In the first race, I've got the 3 and the 4. Let's see, the 3, 4. Joe, that's on your ticket, and Ray, the 2 is on your ticket, as well as the 5, and then I had the 4, and I had the 2. Let's see. In the second race, this is the Ben's Cat race. I think we all had the 6, and I'm seeing that I believe Joe and Ray, you guys both have the 5 as well.
Yeah, pull winner.
Yep.
Okay. And in race number 3, looks like let's see, Joe, you and I are on the 4.
Yes.
And Ray is on, let's see, I've got Ray with the 2, 3, and the 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then the last race, I've got, let's see, well, the 3 and I've got Ray with the 4 on top, and Joe and I with the 3 on top, so 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 4 times 3 is 12, so $24. All right.
4, 8,
48.
4. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I make a suggestion? And
Yeah.
I'm going to go against what I would normally go against. What I did. I'm thinking. I mean, I was the only one. I mean, I know Ray. You mentioned outsider art as well. I'm just wondering if we play this ticket and the 4 favorites come out, if we don't end up losing money here. And again, nothing. I'm not sure if it's worse to tear up the tickets altogether, or to make a pick 4 ticket and lose money on it. So I'm thinking I don't mind throwing out my top pick, Outsider Art, if we want to pare it down just a little bit.
Um,
I'd be more than willing to take one for the team. And then if I want to, I could always bet Outsider Art on my own. I mean, that's if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm I was in the same boat as you. I was concerned. I played these enough times like that, and this one just came out very, very chalky. And then again, with the ticket that we're playing, it's still very chalky. So I saw $24.18 as the payout. And
right. And honestly, to be completely honest, I wouldn't be really upset if we tossed pool winner and singled Ben's cat. To be honest, like I said, pool winner. The only thought I had was that maybe somebody would get in front of Ben's cat. He may get in trouble, and like I know Rich mentioned, as well as I did, the fact that he's only 1 for 4 at Penn National, despite being 28 for 52 everywhere else. But I mean, so I'd be willing to toss pool winner as well. I know Ray mentioned the horse as well, but I don't know what do you think, Ray?
well, I don't know. We're tossing priced horses to stay with chalk.
Yeah, I understand.
Is that because you want to increase the bet to $1, maybe? Or I'm not sure.
I don't know. I like I said, I just don't know if it's going to be, because it seems like the races came up really light and they could be very formful, and I'd rather not be just I don't want to throw in horses just because they're prices. I want to throw in horses that I think have a legitimate shot to win. Now, I'm not saying pool winner can't win the race, because I mean anything can happen in a race. Obviously, we've seen it, but I don't want to chase. I mean, I'd be happy with an $18 ticket. I just was throwing out the opinion. If we wanted to keep pool winner in, I'm fine with the $18 ticket. But I also I'm weighing that against what I think is going to be a very formful card anyway. So I mean, like I said, I'm fine with leaving the 18 as it is. I mean, if we wanted to hit it for $1, we could do 36. Again, that's completely understandable. But if we want to just stay with 18, I'm flexible.
And as far as I didn't have a dog in that fight. The only thing I was going to say, and I kind of flashed up on the screen there for you to see it, was on my template, Ben's cat was the favorite that on my individual ticket that I'm probably going to try and go after, only for the reason that Joe and I keep discussing, which is it seems like if you're going to try and get him at a track, maybe this is the track you get him at 10. And the fact, one of the other things I was thinking about, and again, we're handicapping together, so now I've got some history that I can work with you guys, of Lucy's Bob Boy. Horses that are getting up to that 9. I mean, and he's a legend. I mean, the guy just he keeps firing and things like that. But God, dang it, one day it's got to finish up for him, and he's going 5 furlongs on the turf. And as you guys have talked about, there's a speed ball in front of him. He got rocket heat, so that was why I did. If you were wondering, well, Rich, why didn't you put the 5 in there? I looked at the thing and I'm like, damn, the guy got rocket heat. He can get anybody. As you know, I've got a lot of respect for that.
Right. Oh no, absolutely. But I mean, the angles that we mentioned being that, hey, he's 10. How long is he going to be able to keep going? And again, the 2-week turnaround from having from just having run against
Rocket Heat,
and beating Rocket Heat. I mean, again, like I said, I would put Ben's cat on top, and I have no problem with leaving the ticket as is. Yeah. I just wanted to throw it out there if we wanted, if there was any thought to paring it down any further. Like I said, I'm fine with leaving pool winner on the ticket. 18 would be fine with me, and I'm just, like I said, I'm weighing what happens if we get 4 favorites versus the legitimate chance pool winner has to beat a horse like Ben's cat.
I think.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and for those of us who are who are watching and things like that, Ray and Joe and I got these forums yesterday afternoon, and here we are back broadcasting the next day and things like that. So there hasn't been as much maybe as much in-depth analysis as we often do on these and like that. So I have not had a chance to do any kind of a viability and look at it, but at least my instinct is telling me that you guys are right that the 5 does have a chance against Ben's cat. And again, my own take on it was if I bet an individual pick 4 here, that's probably the chalk that I'm going to go after in this race, just because of some of the stuff that we've brought up.
Okay.
Right.
That being said, we probably talked him so far into the winner's circle, he just wins by length. So.
Well, at 5
How
furlongs,
about
there aren't
Red
that.
Rifle? I mean, Red Rifle, we could talk about him. I mean, he's, hasn't raced on dirt in a while, and,
Mm-hmm.
how can he transition, the form back first race out like this? So, I mean,
Well,
we could toss him. We could toss him. I mean,
Rich, can you pull? Are you trying to pull up Red Rifle?
Yeah, are they coming up?
And if
that's one truck we could throw out, maybe that could, if he beats us, he beats us. I mean, I don't.
Hi, Lily. Say hi.
Hi, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
Yeah, I see your shirt. Oh, okay, it was the Smoking Cobras that were on. Oh, okay, I remember them. Okay, well, I didn't because I'm doing this. Oh my God, Josh has got his face painted. Come on, look into the camera. Here comes my son. Oh God.
Oh my Lord.
Hey, Joshua.
Yeah, he's get last day of school tomorrow.
We call him Sting. Hey, Sting. Sting. Space Mountain.
Oh my God. My God. Jeez. Anyway, where were we? Oh, okay, we were talking about Red Rifle.
Red Rifle.
Can you get him up on the screen, Rich? I just wanted to
take a look at the profile for a 1 mile turf race here at Penn.
I picked him, but
yeah, I mean,
you guys got me on.
The one thing about it is that no matter what we do, these horses all work on the dirt. So it's not as if dirt's completely foreign to these horses.
Yeah.
So and he is, if you look at him, if you underline his fast track performances, he's 5 of 8 in the exacta and 3 of 8 on tops. It's not like dirt is completely foreign, but it has been a while.
No.
And the other thing about this race is that it's not the strongest field he's going to face, being on the dirt. Like you mentioned, Ray, earlier when you did your analysis, he is the class of the field. Yeah. But I basically went against it because he's been running long on the turf up until now, or at least the last 2 races this year. This is his 3rd race in the form cycle.
Yeah, from
and normally I would have expected a little bit more than what he's shown in the 2 races. I mean, if he had won the Grade 3 if he had won the Fort Marcy on turf, then his form to me looks a lot better. His current form to me doesn't look very good at all.
Yeah,
it looks he's still trying to recapture that Woodbine Saratoga stuff from back in summer of 2015. Again, that being said, like I mentioned earlier, he's not going to catch a much softer field than this. Like I said, if his form were better, I would definitely have to include him. But it's the form that really has me thinking that he's going in the opposite direction. And maybe, Rich, is he a 5-year-old, 4-year-old? Can you scroll back up to where he was? I didn't see.
He's 6.
He's a 6-year-old. So yeah. So now I guess the other question is, okay, well, is it doesn't look like he's even as good as he was at 5, and towards the end of his 5-year-old season, he was running Grade 1s, but he hasn't returned to any of that form that we saw because last year at this Grade 3 he would have been 2 to 5.
Yeah.
In the summer or the spring of last year, he would have been 2 to 5 in the spot. There's no way he would be 8 to 5. So that's why I didn't use him at all, and I'd be willing, like Ray was saying, if you wanted to toss him from his ticket, I'd be willing to do it too.
Yeah,
but like I said, 18 is manageable, and the Pletcher reputation may make those odds drift down to 3 to 5 or 4 to 5, and based on form, he's not worth 4 to 5 to me.
And now talking about him with that, I could leave him out as well.
Yeah, we could double up the ticket if you want.
So take out Red Rifle from race
3.
Oh, the 4 is Marvelous, Rich.
Oh, I'm sorry, the 2.
So take out Red Rifle and put Marvelous back in. So that would be 3 by 2 by 2 by 2, which is 12, correct? 12.
Yep.
So again, if we wanted to do this ticket for $1, we can go 24, which is still plenty reasonable. And this way, if the chalk all comes in, we'll probably lose because Red Rifle I would expect to be favored anyway. But like I said, to me he's more vulnerable even than Ben's Cat is.
Yeah, I agree. Ben Cat's in form, so that's a favor you have to.
Yeah, again, like I said, and it's that Pletcher Castellano reputation is gonna. That's where all the money. I think that's where a lot of the money's gonna go in this race, because everybody on the East Coast knows Pletcher, whether they know Mike Maker or not. I mean, my guess is most of them do, but I don't know.
That works.
So if we now again, this is all pre-scratches. We don't know if anything's going to change, given that it's still 2 days away. We're still, this is normally the Friday show, but we're 2 days away. But is there any? I guess we can discuss it, whether we want to double up this ticket if it stays intact. But at least right now, I'd be happy with the ticket the way we have it, just for the 50-cent base.
Absolutely, that's fine with me.
Can you put that? Can you put that back up, Rich? I just want to write the numbers down so I know, or send it. You know what? Either that or just send it to me.
Here it comes.
Okay, I'm just gonna write it down. 2, 4, 5, 5, 6, 3, 4, 3, 4. And hey, if the favorites don't win, if a couple of the favorites don't win, and we nail the other races, even better.
Yeah, exactly.
Even better.
Yeah.
Plus, I think the other alternative is you got to remember we're going to save money for next week's card.
Right.
Segue into Rich's intro or conclusion, which tells us about what next week's show is. Can I be any more obvious?
Well, it's not the Triple Crown and it's not the Road Match. So what is it?
Yeah, we're not playing Pimlico next week. We're not playing Golden Gate, Hastings Park, or any of those other little tracks. They could all fit inside the track we're going to play next week.
Big Sandy.
There are so many stakes races next week at Belmont. Arguably, we could do 2 different pick 4s. We could probably do the early one and the late one, and it would all be stakes races. It would still all be superstar horses the whole time.
And Friday you can do a pick 4, because there are 6 stake races scheduled for Friday if they all fill.
It's quite busy. And Thursday.
But at least the good thing is we don't have to broadcast until Friday next week.
Exactly. You'll get the one extra day.
And I'm sure we'll see Saludos Amigos again. On a week rest.
All right.
Do you
guys have anything else before we adjourn for the evening here?
No, other than Belmont next week.
All right, I'll conclude. All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's always a pleasure to handicap with both of you. So good night to you guys.
Yes, absolutely, guys.
Absolutely.
Have a good evening and enjoy the wedding, Rich.
All right. For those of you watching,
Rich.
if you enjoyed our show, we'll be back next week when we get together and take a look at another exciting card. As you heard Joe mentioning it there, it's Belmont Stakes Day from Belmont Park in New York. So for Joe English and Ray Torrado, I'm Rich Sharp. Thank you and good night.
Good night.